Good afternoon, crafters. We are live. My name is Hannah Roxbury and I am the brand ambassador for Carnation Crafts. And this afternoon we are going to be bringing you a Facebook Live dedicated to the brand new Crafter Select die, which is called Table for Brunch. Now what we're going to do, like we always do with each live, is just give it a few minutes just so everyone who wants to join us live can find us and do so. Essentially, these Facebook Lives are really all about you guys. It gives us an extended opportunity to demo, to show you step by step in detail how we construct cards, how we bring compositions together, how we might be cutting out vignettes, or for anything where it's quite a detailed die, where we might construct and things like that. It's also your opportunity to interact. We are live. I can see the comments popping up on screen. So if anyone does have any questions as we go through, type them up and I will do my level best to answer as many as we can as we go along. Now for this live, oh my goodness, it's been all go behind the scenes today. So there are sort of cables and extension leads and all sorts of things set up because I think we identified the problem in the last couple of lives. I think the Christmas tree might have been in the way and blocking the signal. Yes. It is all mod cons here at Stone Towers. So we've done a bit of jiggery pokery and hopefully we won't have too many lags or anything with this Facebook Live. So do let me know in the comments if you can see and hear all right. I've got lots of people joining us already. Karen's here, Letitia's here, Shirley's here, Pam's here as well. We've got Kim from France. Hi, Kim. And we have got Carla. I can see Miss Bagshaw has joined us. Hello, gorgeous lady. Carol's here as well. Viv says, afternoon, Hannah. Looking forward to this demo as I placed my order this morning. Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Yes, so this afternoon, what am I doing? I don't even know what I'm doing today, to be honest. So this afternoon, Table for Brunch is a brand new Crafter Select die. And actually, let's show you a little image of that. So here we go. And it's gorgeous. It's a lovely sized die as well. You'll see it as we go through the demonstration. Is that new, hot off the press, exactly like we were last week? I don't have my package sample here. But to show you on screen in the blue colourways, you've got your beautiful table. Now this is kind of your cafe, think Parisian streets, think high-end bistros, think that sort of thing. Perhaps you're going out for a Prosecco afternoon tea with girlfriends, something like that, you know. Here you have this wonderful little table and you can then decorate your table with your bottle of champagne or Prosecco, whichever you prefer, and of course your cut glass crystals, cut glass crystal glasses. I confused myself there. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. So you've got those as well. So you can have a lot of fun setting the table, setting the scene. Now this Facebook Live is going to go in a couple of directions because I originally made this with a few different collections in mind and it kind of came together a little bit like, I don't know, it's just kind of like an ongoing evolution, if you like, of card making. And then what I settled on, because the team at Carnation have done an amazing deal for you guys today. If you haven't purchased the Climbing Florals, part of the Floral Heights, the full collection, that has launched today on our website. And what we are doing to celebrate that, for anyone that purchases that Climbing Florals collection, so the full collection from Floral Heights, we will pop this die in for free. You don't need to add it to your order. The team will just pop it in. If you've already got Floral Heights or you don't fancy the collection, you just love this die and want to get it on its own, we have you covered as well. The team have very generously popped this as today's deal of the day. So you will find Table for Brunch, I'll just check the code, 211012. on our website. If you go onto our website and click Deal of the Day, you can't miss it. It's on every single page, big banner across the top in pink, and it's also on the ribbon menu and highlighted in red. It says Deal of the Day. Now we bring you a Deal of the Day, as the name would suggest, every single day, and that deal is available for 24 hours only. So this die set is available today, so the 15th of December, at 25% off, and the code there, if you want to search for it, is 211012, which is fabulous. So let me just change that back to that. There we go, perfect. I'm gonna have a little scroll back and make sure I'm not missing any questions. Oh, Karen says, can hear and see you fine. Perfect. That is really good to know. Thank you, Karen. Jenny says, hello all. Christine's here as well. Karen also says, ordered mine this morning, smiley face. Jan's ordered hers this morning as well. Hopefully, I mean, I know the team are totally on it, and they will be probably already winging its way to you in the post anyway. As soon as we get dispatch requests on our website, the team are working hard to get your orders out to you. Just bear in mind that at this time of year, obviously, there's lots and lots of parcels going through the post, so it may be a couple of days before it arrives with you, but it should be well on its way before Christmas to be crafting with. Letitia says, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to Carnation Crafts for the fab products. Oh, bless. But importantly, a massive thank you to Hannah and Carla for your amazing inspiration and demos. Oh, do you know what? It's absolutely our pleasure. And I'm sure Carla is watching, so I'm sure she'll agree with me. We love bringing you inspiration. It is just the most, it's just a wonderful thing to be able to sit here and share with you guys and craft with you guys. So absolutely, hands down, we are honoured to be able to do this, and just thank you guys for your support, and it's just fun. It's just really fun. Okay, so table for brunch. Should we turn the camera around? Should we start having a little play? So in front of me, if the camera will turn around, there we go. You've got sort of the makings of this kind of card. Now I've pulled in, as I said, a few different designs from a few different collections, and I will name check them all as we go through. But this kind of is evolving process. So I'm going to show you the initial idea that I was coming up with for Table for Brunch, just to show you how versatile it is. And then we might go on and finish the card using the Floral Heights collection that it's signed up against. Jocelyn says, do you ship to the US? Absolutely, Jocelyn, we do. The only thing we don't ship is heavy cardstock packs, but everything else is available to send over to the US and internationally, in fact. You just check our website for T's and C's and also delivery costs and things like that. It will all be on there for your information. So, Table for Brunch. I was kind of looking at it. Let me just show you the vignette because it's gorgeous. Here we go. Let me move that out of the way. It's these lovely, soft, sort of pink blush tones. You've then got that beautiful sheen, this beautiful artwork on the bottle and also on the crystal glasses there as well. And doesn't it make an event? Doesn't it make something really, really precious for you? Now, this could be any one of your collections. This could be for a happy birthday card. This could be anniversary card. This, of course, could be weddings, celebrations, anniversaries, anything like that. But where my initial thought process lay was, do you know what? I want to go fancy. So with that in mind, I decided for the backdrop of this card, I wanted to use the lovely, lovely card shape from the A Little Bit Fancy collection. Now, this launched way back, I think it was our first anniversary actually, with Create and Craft. So a couple of years ago now. But again, it just shows you can dip into previous collections. You can go back, have a look at the dies you might have in your stash that you might not have visited for a while. And by adding in just little extra dies like this, you're giving that collection a whole new lease of life. So what I've done, and again, you'll see both myself and Carla do this with most demonstrations, to create my card base, I've cut the outermost die from the A Little Bit Fancy card shape from 350 perfect smooth cardstock, so a nice heavyweight cardstock. That means it's nice and construction weight, so it'll hold its shape. It will be steadfast when you pop it on the mantelpiece or send it through the post. The Perfect Smooth has a lovely, lovely smooth finish, as the name would suggest, and it's actually ideal for using things like your alcohol markers. Because it's nice and smooth, you're not going to get any snags on the end of your nibs. It's also really nice to have just a card base with a scalloped edge, rather than having something where it's a straight edge, which of course can look nice. Sometimes if you want to go a little bit fancy, add in something with a scallop to give it a little bit more zhuzh. Now, onto this, of course, like we have with most of our card shapes, we do have the mats and layers. So these are your framing devices. These are designed to draw in the eye and also give framing to your card design. And this layer is cut from the Floral Heights cardstock, so nice sort of blush pinks tones from Floral Heights. And I'm going to stick this layer using finger lift tape. Now you see how I'm doing this. I'm taking the carrier sheet of the tape and folding it across, creating a little tab, folding it across the edge. That means when I come to align my base like so, you get perfect alignment all the way around the edge, but it also means you can just go in and simply peel away those edges of tape nice and easily without having to worry you're going to get this all sort of on the wonk or anything like that. So that's how we construct most of our card bases, unless it's sort of construction base where you've got like a stepper and folds and things like that. It normally is cut to the outermost die, score about 1/2 inch down from one side, red liner tapes for a nice strong stick between the layers, and then you can begin building your card design. Now I'm going to lay out, as I suggested, this card design. So I've taken the next matte layer in, again, the lighter pink tone from Floral Heights, and then I cut the little bit fancy filigree from the vignette. Now it's unusual that we have vignettes for the filigree part, because it was a fancy collection. We went with this nice kind of silver colour, and it instantly reminded me of the silver work on the table, which I thought looked really, really nice. So of course what you could do is simply have your table and your bottle and your glasses and perhaps a sentiment or something like that for a really pared back design on your card base. That's really pretty. I really liked that. I wanted to give it a little bit more grandeur though. I mean, as if that's not fancy enough. And my mind went to this little beauty, which is from Elegant Alfresco, which I think was actually our anniversary collection for this year. And this is the Natural Arbor, and I loved the sort of scroll work in this. Again, so synonymous with the folds in the fabric and the scrolls of the footwork here on the table. And I thought it might be fun to kind of go with this kind of enclosed little pretty little garden retreat for your kind of afternoon tea. And of course, this die set does come with florals and leaves and all sorts of things that you can choose to decorate the arbor. But when I started adding in the table, I felt, do you know what, that is quite busy, isn't it? It's almost like the scrolls on the arbor are fighting with the scrolls in the background. So if you're ever finding you've got die cuts when you're trying to layer them and they're fighting against one another, really simple trick: swap out any coloured background for a plain background. So all I've done here is cut that same filigree layer as you've just seen, like so, but cut it from the same colour cardstock as my matte layer. Now it looks a little bit like a faux emboss. It pairs it right back. It gives a texture to the plain cardstock, but it's not overwhelming. Now, when I go in, do you see how that lovely scroll work die in its own right is there? It has its own prominence on the front of the card. And now the table isn't fighting with the background anymore. So again, little tips and tricks there. That looks so, so pretty. And then I kind of got to thinking, okay, well, I've already cut out the vignettes for the filigree and things. That can go in my stash for another day. But what if we wanted to make it look a little bit like a theatre? So you've gone out, you've perhaps gone to the opera or something really, really fancy like that. So this you could then have as a curtain design. Do you see how you're building this scene? You're building in this story. Again, you're going with these pinks. You've got the pinks in the cloth and in the ribbon. You've got the pinks in the flowers here and the pinks in this beautiful sweeping curtain. And you're making it look as if you're perhaps gone to the theatre for the evening and enjoying, you know, a matinee performance and drinks afterwards or something like that. And again, just simply finishing with a little birthday sentiment like so. Really clean and simple card, but it all works together so wonderfully. And I think that is key with Carnation, because their dies really and truly do. So we've got Table for Brunch, which is Crafted Select. You've got Natural Arbor, which is Elegant Alfresco. And then the background and obviously this curtain here are all from a little bit fancy. So lots and lots of different collections across quite wide spaces of time. But because we're working with Carnation, because Carnation artwork is all done in-house by the same team of designers, from the initial sketch designs right through to this finished artwork, do you see how that signature style keeps repeating and creates really, really beautiful cards like so? And I can see Carnation are on the team are watching, and they're just answering people's posts to say they have shipped the orders as well. So thank you, team. That is really awesome. So that was my initial thought process with the Crafted Select guide. I really, really loved that kind of look. Then the team were like, do you know what we're going to do, Han? Because we're launching on our web the Floral Heights collection as well, so the full collection, Climbing Florals. We thought we'd gift table for brunch as well, because this die set really does work so beautifully with floral heights as well. So I thought, do you know what, let's change it up. Let's create a card design, a round table for brunch, but include die cuts from Floral Heights as well. So I've grabbed a few. I don't know which ones I'm going to use. We're just going to have a play and we're going to go for it. But because we're going to create this scene where we've got elements to layer up, I'm going to stick with that textured background rather than going back to the vignette for the filigree order as well. So what I'm going to do initially is stick down this layer. So to stick, I'm going to use my everyday glue because I want a nice flat layer between the matte layer and of course this sort of faux emboss, if you like. And I'm just going to squeeze out a little bit of my everyday glue, and of course it is Wednesday, so I'm using my Wednesday glue. And I'm going to use my glue applicators here to just stick this all together. Because we've got lots and lots of fine filigree, it's just so much easier to get into these little areas with my glue applicator. Now it is worth mentioning, these little glue applicators are amazing. You get, I think, about 100 in the little pot, and that, believe me, is going to keep you going for ages and ages and ages, because of course they are reusable. If you just give them a little wipe over once you've finished using them, they are good to go for your next set of crafting. Or if you're anything like me, forget to wipe them over and you can still use them anyway. So just everyday glue all the way along, just in those key little places, in the corners and in the areas here, just smoothing the glue along. And because you're taking your time just to add the glue in, it's going to go slightly tacky, which means it's going to grab beautifully when we come to stick. Now your filigree layer is just slightly smaller than your matte layer there as well. So just take your time, align that all and adjust, and you get this beautiful little edge around, and we just smooth that into place like so. Okay, so I really thought that was so pretty. Now you notice I haven't stuck this layer down yet. Now there is a reason. I was having a play around, you know, like you do when you have your sort of crafty afternoons. Perhaps it's a little bit wet, perhaps it's a little bit rainy outside. And I thought, I really want to create a scene, but I want layers within this scene, but I want kind of space between the layers, if that kind of makes sense. So I was looking at what Carnation have on their website, and we have Acetate. Now, I don't think I've ever done a Facebook Live with Acetate, and of course you can use it for behind your filigree layers, like so. If you wanted to create shaker cards, a little bit of foam around the edge, put your sequins or your beads inside, creates a beautiful shaker card. You can use it just as a little bit of point of difference because it creates a really lovely gloss on the front of your cards as well. Perhaps you want to then colour in the back with alcohol markers and create like a stained glass effect through your filigree designs. That's a really lovely idea. Now our acetate is 100 microns. Okay, so it's not your construction weight acetate. And I looked at it and thought, do you know what? I bet it could be. So I thought, let's have a play. Why not? Okay, why not? So I've scored it. And you can see it's taken a score really well. All we've done is on my scoreboard, let me find a scoreboard. Oh, there we go. Scoreboard, acetate, and a ball tool. Just aligned it, and then I've taken my ball tool down the score little sign, and then just to really make sure that is a nice crisp fold, I've used a bone folder on it. Okay, so exactly the same if you were scoring card and creating envelopes or creating card blanks, for example. It works in exactly the same way. Sorry, just bashed my camera there. And look how it's kept that fold. So it hasn't pinned open or anything like that. Even though it's that lighter weight, it's going to be perfect for the front of these cards. So this piece of acetate I've actually cut just slightly bigger. Try and fold those scores back so you can see slightly bigger than that card base there. And then red liner tape on the acetate, because obviously being acetate, it's nice and smooth, and you want a tape that grabs. So when you come to stick your tapes on, if I just hold it for now, because I've obviously got to decorate this layer, you can create a bowed front. Isn't that fab? And that's on just our acetate on the website. And I thought that is so lovely. That's such a nice way of creating layers. And then of course we can stick it and it will keep that bowed card front as well. So that allowed me this kind of area on the back and then this pause, but not taking anything away from the card, and then sticking on at the top as well. So what I wanted to do before I stick anything on there is create my background. I'm just going to add a little bit more glue to this top corner because this little bit wants to keep pinging off. So I'm just going to sit and hold that for a minute and just have a scroll back through the comments there. Ida's just joined us from the US. Hi Ida, I hope you're keeping well. Oh goodness me, Kim says, lovely to be back watching Facebook Lives. First time since I lost my mum and trying to get back into my card making. Oh Kim, that's so difficult. It must be so hard. But you know, it's lovely that we've got such a great community of crafters, and hopefully between the lives and of course the Inspiration On group, you'll be able to be back to your card making in no time at all. Pauline says, CNC team are the best for shipping. They truly are. They are amazing. What they do in the office there, they are so good. Okay, so we were thinking, let's go kind of Parisian, let's go bistro cafe. So I went with this kind of idea of, on the doorstep, this very elegant door design. And of course this doorstep absolutely has to be decorated with the, what are they, topiaries, little box hedges here. And then the little blue one at the front there to give you a sense of perspective and that sense of grounding. I am going to include the sentiment, but this time around it's going to feature on the back of the card, and that's going to be my backdrop. Okay, so you're setting the scene. You've got that texture in the background and the foreground of this particular layer. You've then got your sentiment and the door, and of course the florals here. Now I'm not going to give any height to these. I'm just going to simply add them as is, but I'm not going to glue that back down yet. What am I going to stick these with, Hannah? Let's go, I don't know, let's go everyday glue. Let's give it some everyday glue. So I'm just going in straight with the nozzle, if it wants to open. There you go. A little bit of glue and a little bit of glue, just smoothing that out all the way along. And then I'm positioning that door just off to one side, trying to get that nice and straight, which is really not very straight. Do you know, I really do need new glasses. Let me just straighten that all up and then stick like so. And then my little sweet little hedges here, I might give these a little bit of height, so I might go in with just a tiny little ball tool on my foam mat, just rounding those off ever so slightly. And of course, if we're going to do that with those, we need to do it with this tree as well. So I'm picking a ball tool which is the appropriate size of what I am shaping, and I'm using the dense foam mat just to help me shape those. And then just to keep that little bit of height, let's go in with our pin flare. So this little beauty is going to go down to the one corner, and do you see how by placing that like so, you're instantly grounding that design. Okay, you're instantly saying this is the placement. We've got foreground to this perspective now, so it just makes more sense than having a door floating in midair. Little box hedge like so. Very elegant, this, isn't it? And then a little one at the bottom as well, a little bit more pin flare just to layer. Yes, creates a lovely little scene. And same with our sentiment. The sentiment itself has been cut from the same colour, Perfect Papers. So this is the Perfect Papers in the light pink from the Floral Heights collection. And then the matte, so the background to this particular one has been cut from the Perfect Blush, which is our white cardstock in Rose. So it's a pink coloured white cardstock. And again, we've chosen that pink because it then matches in with the overall tone of this card. So you've got that nice warm white colour to it, like so. And that particular sentiment, if anyone's wondering, I do use this quite a lot, and quite a lot of the Facebook Lives actually, is from the Fresh Blooms card shape. Excuse me, I also just have a mouthful of water. Yeah, Fresh Blooms. So that creates my backdrop. Now we're going to go in with that acetate layer. Now, because this has been sitting around for a while, it has got a little bit of dust on it, so I'm just going to give that a little wipe down. For something like a microfiber cloth, for example, is great. You can also use your, if you're using these in shaker cards and things, and you don't want the shakers to stick, or anything you put in to stick on there, you can use anti-static bags. You know, the little bags that we use to prep the surface for stamping. It just makes sure it takes any static away from the acetate as well. Okay, so I'm going to flip that over. I need to be careful because obviously I've got glue on these, but I'm just going to align. So just cut this acetate down just ever so slightly smaller than the length. And then we're using red liner tape because it is obviously nice and sticky, and it's going to stick perfectly to that. So just taking your time to make sure that's aligned before we commit to the stick, and then pushing that down. So to get the one side in place first, don't ever remove all the tape and then try and get it all in one go, because you're going to be there forever trying to align everything. And then we can go in with the other side as well. Let's just see. So I'm going to remove the red liner tape. Sometimes it's easier to use your pokey tool to get the carrier sheet of the red liner tape off. And the idea is you kind of got to push. You want to create that bend on the front. It's always easier to do this, not trying to do it to camera. Right, I'm just going to get that aligned, and then I will show you before I stick it. So you're pushing it so that score line butts up against the edge of what you're working with, and then just go along and smooth that down. Okay, that then creates that bowed front to your card. Isn't that fun? And that's just with the acetate off our website, and it kind of seals in that little design in the background. I think that's super, super lovely. Now I think I will raise that up on a little bit of foam just to give it a little bit more prominence to that layer. So I'll grab my foam tape. Reason being, obviously I haven't put foam tape on yet because I didn't want to interrupt where the acetate was going to sit. So just cutting off a length of foam like so. And this is 1mm foam tape. A length of foam across the other side. And then we always pop a couple of little bits in the middle just to keep that middle stable and to lift it from the background as well, so you don't get any sort of sag to the middle of your card there. Those we don't need to worry about getting the carrier sheet off. They are just simply there for stability. Just going to line that up, check we're all good to go, make sure everything's still straight, and then we're going to remove, just as you've seen me do before, just lining that layer up like so. Oops. Making sure that's nice and straight before we commit to sticking that down, and pulling, pat, 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 pat. And then we're going to get the other side in. Oops. That's okay. I've had a little bit of an accident with the sentiment there. Just align that again. Just go in and adjust my sentiment like so. And there we go. I mean, that would look fab in its own right. It's got obviously its little stand in it, everything like that. So it's going to stand beautifully. And you've got that bowed card front. Obviously, if you're sending this through the post, just be mindful of how high you're going to create your dome. But of course, you can use those sort of gusset envelopes where you've got a little bit of height in them to account for your decoupage and things like that. But it's just an idea, or alternatively make a box, you know. Teresa says, hi there Hannah, just received some floral heights and also ordered the petite rectangles from your website. I've received my paper to print on and some gorgeous birds. Oh, fabulous, Teresa. It sounds like you're going to have a lot of fun with those. Okay, so the next layer, we're going to go in. See how we can add detail and dimension without interrupting the flow of the look. So this is that wonderful light, that lamp from Floral Heights as well. But because we're working with acetate, I want to stick it down using red liner tape. So I'm just looking around for my red liner tape. I've got a whole load here. And I'm just looking to see what sort of size we've got on the vignettes, because we don't want to obviously do anything that's going to come off the edge or anything like that. So we're just going to go in with a nice small strip. Now, because we're sticking straight onto the acetate, you want a tape that it's going to hold, obviously, on a shiny surface. So red line tape is perfect for that. But also you've got this sort of sense that you're going to try and stick it to a bowed card front. So obviously you just need to take your time when you are adding these things in. A little bit of a wider piece there for the lamp itself. And I'm just smoothing those down to make sure they're nice and firmly adhered to the vignette. I'm probably going to, oh sorry table, turn that this way. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking the edge of the acetate here. I'm going to stick that element of the lamp nice and firmly down. So I'm just taking the carrier sheet away, and then for the rest of the lamp we can come in, follow that curve round and stick the lamp like so. Obviously you've got this little bit lifting up here. I'm not too worried about lifting that up. If you were someone that's concerned about that, what you could do is cut this vignette from your cardstock as usual, but then mount it on, you know, the adhesive sheets. I know Wild Spider, for example, do a great selection of adhesive sheets and things like that. And that means if you wanted to, you could stick every part of the vignette down securely. There, so we've got the lamp sort of in the foreground there, and you're creating this dimension, you're creating this story around this design. Now, just look what happens when we introduce the table for brunch. You're instantly popping that in the foreground. It's creating perspective. You've got your backdrop of your texture, then into your door, but your foreground is almost this wonderful romantic, you know, perhaps it's just a little cafe you've stumbled on in the back streets of Paris, for example. You've got the light over the top. It's very romantic. It's got this lovely feel to it. So for our table, just as we did with the lamp, I'm going to curve that ever so slightly so it sits well on the front of the card. And we are going to use red liner tape. Now you'll see with my red liner tape, it is, I mean, that is disgusting. I'm really sorry. I must apologise for that. It is covered in morph. Perils of having a very fluffy white cat. But you see it's all sort of jumbled together, all kind of stuck together from the edges. When you get your red liner tape home, take it out of the packaging and run either a little bit of talcum powder or anti-static bag, for example, over the edges, and it will stop the tape clumping together like this. You can also use kitchen roll. If you lay all the reels out on kitchen roll, for example, it will stop them all clumping together. So all I'm doing here is taking each of the elements, and on the back I am sticking some red liner tape, just checking what sort of size to see what kind of size I can add in. And sometimes I find it's easier just to lay the tape down like so and then trim. So you're trimming it to exactly the right size for your needs for this one. So here I want the end or the edge or the bottom of the table, should I say, just aligned with the bottom of the card, and then the top is going to sit just through the middle of the card there as well. So again, removing that red liner tape, that won't remove from my finger, and positioning, holding in place, and then smoothing down. And the nice thing about the red liner tape, it is so sticky that it will grab and hold as well. So you're not having to worry that these are going to ping off the front of your card. Everything's just sitting there very beautifully in the front design. And this is actually quite a nice sort of pared back design. Although there's layers and there's a little bit of obviously construction involved with the acetate that we use from Carnation Crafts website. It's just a nice way of building this design. So next up we're going to have our bottle. Again, you may notice every time I'm sticking down the red liner tape, I'm turning these vignettes over and sticking obviously the tape on the reverse, but the reverse is just as beautifully coloured as the front, and that is because we are using our mirrored vignettes. If you need a little guide to how we use our mirrored vignettes, there are YouTube videos available to watch back, which is really lovely. So if you are making a card like this where you're going to see from this side the colours of the vignettes and things. It's a little bit difficult to see on camera, but you're going to see the back of the vignettes. So if you're using them over acetate and things like that, mirrored vignettes are perfect because you've still got that colour on the back. It's not going to be distracting with anything white showing. It's all just going to work together really, really beautifully. So in with our bottle. Let's just have a little think about where we want the bottle to sit, just over the happy birthday. I think might be quite fun on the edge of the table there. And then peel away the red liner tape to stick like so. And then same with the glasses. Now I've created this as a birthday card. As we mentioned, you know, it could be an anniversary card, it could be an invitation. Perhaps you're sending an invite to someone to say, you know, would you like to go for afternoon tea, or perhaps you've got them afternoon tea gift vouchers, for example. It would be really lovely to include it in a really lovely card like this, wouldn't it? I also love the way the sort of sentiments in the background, you're kind of looking through the card itself. It's inviting you to look through the acetate and the foreground of the card to see the sentiment and things like that. It's just a little bit of fun, just little quirks of design. And then finally, second glass, just overlapping them on the table like so. So sweet. I really think that's such a fun design. Now obviously if you wanted to create an idea like this, instead of using a bowed front, you could, as we've mentioned, use your double-sided foam with your acetate, have a little frame on the front to hide where the foam is, and then pop sequins and beads in to create a shaker card. But actually I think that's really effective with this bowed design to your card front like so. Really pretty. Of course, if you wanted to, you could include florals from the Floral Heights collection. I think that would look really nice as well, but I didn't want to overload the card. I just wanted to give something with a little bit of an idea of how, just one way of using that table for brunch. As we've mentioned, you know, you can use it with the different collections as well. It doesn't just have to be Floral Heights, but we felt it worked so beautifully, given that we were launching Floral Heights on our website today. We thought that would be a little bit of fun to give away that with the full collection of Climbing Florals as well. So let's just flip that camera back around so I can show you from the front that card design. Like so, hopefully without too much glare on. But isn't that really sweet? Isn't that a different way of creating a card with those layers of acetate? Remember that acetate is available on our website. All we've done is scored each side, cut it slightly larger than the base layer behind, and then stuck it to the front to create that bowed effect. I really like that. I think that's a little bit of fun. What I will do after the Facebook Live is obviously take a picture and pop it up on Facebook. So if anyone wants to copy the card, you're more than welcome to do so. We have completely open angel policy at Carnation Crafts. If you have any questions, I will be around for a little while afterwards, so I can check those through. And in the meantime, please check out our Facebook group, Carnation Crafters. It's a really lovely, happy group where lots of people share wonderful inspiration. And it's just a really nice place to chat as well. Lots of thank yous come in, so thank you guys, more importantly, for watching this afternoon and joining me. And Kana is on your screens tomorrow. We have got Moments in Time, Back to Wear collection on Create and Craft at 9:45 and 4:30, I think. I will put all the details up at the bottom. And then what else have we got? Sunday, I will be back with a Facebook Live show preview as we are launching a new collection on Monday called Lots of Love. And then I myself will be back on Tuesday with another Facebook Live. So it's all busy, it's all go at the moment. So do keep an eye on social media for more details on that. I look forward to seeing your creations with Table for Brunch. And until next time, stay safe everyone, and see you very soon. Bye bye.